Lenarczyk, and welcome to today's episode of Melody of the Future, a series of conversations about how technology is changing the way we create, share, and experience sound and music. Today's guest, Piotr Koźniewski, is a creative technologist and spatial computing pioneer whose work bridges virtual reality, augmented reality, and multisensory design. Trained as a chemist, he brings a unique perspective to design environments, transforming complex ideas into immersive, experience-driven tools and artworks. In this conversation, we explore how sound becomes spatial, how technology can extend perception, and how immersion might shape the future of presence, play, and emotional connection. From early AI engines and VR sound experiments to the potential of multisensory environments, Piotr offers a deeply inventive take on what's possible when sound and space collide. So my first question is, how did your journey from bioorganic chemistry lead to spatial computing and immersive environments?
Well, actually, thanks for having me here. First of all, answering your question, actually, bioorganic chemistry is very spatial. The problems there, when you are thinking about the relations between molecules and bonds and some kind of spatial rotations on the molecules and spectral characteristics of the atoms of very complex, heavily structured spatial molecules, all of the problems I was solving then during my 10 years education to being a chemist were spatial problems. So actually what I was trying to do when I started my first startup was to try to draw and some kind of visualize these spatial problems, but I had no skill in drawing at all. I was technically good at drawing, but not like artistically or spatially. And I found out that there were actually no spatial graphic tools for growing 3D devices, markets, and consoles. So there are many tools that were doing 3D design, but there were only like very tabellarized parameters, and you always need to use only flat keyboard and flat mouse or tablet, and the interface was very flat. So my imagination was super not compatible with a computer. I could write, I can write a text, but I couldn't draw something in space as I wished to. What's available now is what I was wishing and wanting, dreaming to do 15 years ago. Because the transition from chemistry into immersive spatial thinking, imagining, envisioning was like no-brainer for me. So.
That's
I hope that answers your question.
Oh yeah, because now I can connect dots actually. So can we just also dive deeper into your chemical background? Because I think it has also a big impact into your journey with 3D environments. So can you describe your first ideas more deeply with this 3D graphics?
Well, I would love to, but can I use external resources? Can I share my screen with you and show you some prototypes I did in 17, 18 years ago?
Sure, please.
Okay. So one more thing. I don't know if you see it in my background. I have a lot of technique builds, and my imagination is just very mechanistic and spatial. So because of that, I was trying to convert it into 3D software. So when I finished my university, it was 2008. Actually, there was only one type of spatial controller for the computer. It was something like this, and they are available still on the market. It's called 3D Mouse. This is from the 3D Connection, and what they do is when you hold this, you can pull it up, you can push it forward, you can push it sideways, or you can tilt it to all of these axes. So this way, you could have this very spatial, fluent possibility of manipulating the virtual space, the same as you have now with this controller. So 20 years ago, only this device give you this spatial ability. Only this. I mean, on the consumer market at least. So what I was thinking, I was trying to use this to do the same thing as VR controllers do now, and I'll show you a short way of my approach to this. You see this?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a YouTube page I put on 2009, and do you see this? 2009. So from 2009, I was building with a team of, they were like guys who just believed in the idea of 3D. And what I have here is a recording from that prototype. The quality is terrible, but the plane here, this plane here, it represents like a tablet, like a physical tablet, and which I was moving in the virtual space like this. So I connected the 3D controller and tablet together in this software. And this combination I called 3D tablet because it was a tablet moving in 3D space. And this idea was incomplete because of lack of spatial autostereoscopic displays, for example. This idea was very obvious for me.
Autostereoscopic? That's a very specific word, autostereoscopic.
Yeah, it's available already, but I'll get back to that. So this idea here I showed was the idea to use a spatial controller in spatial space to make spatial actions, not with a menu, not with some kind of structure for defining how to use it, but exactly in the spatial environment. And so from, as you see, August 2009, for over a year, I was building with my team of volunteers that believe that I will be able to gather some resources from investors. So they believed in me, and finally I actually got an investor. I got an investor for this kind of technology. So this is I think it was the final stage of the development. There's some kind of music. I will turn it off. Yeah. So what you see here is the green square is equivalent to my tablet, and what I'm doing now is switching between controlling the camera, like you see right now, and so there's like a stop switch, and now I'm controlling the tablet plane. And I always do this with this spatial control, the 3D mouse. But if you will take a look into the Gravity Sketch application, I don't know if you know the Gravity Sketch. I think you may.
No, unfortunately not.
Okay, so never mind. This approach that I have control nodes that I can control separately, but in full SD way, it's actually the same idea I invented like 20 years ago, and I built it into the prototype. That was the starting point for my first startup, but actually never got there. This demo, this prototype was only a proof of concept that I can build a team, I can delegate tasks, I can build a prototype, and I can prove my concept. But unfortunately, it didn't went anywhere. But as a fun fact, if you go, so the 3D tablet, I still have the domain. 3dtablet.com. My VPN blocked it, but yeah, this is the same YouTube channel. So what I was thinking then is that a device that is like controlled with a spatial controller will be able to do some spatial things, and that way of thinking, represented in today in modern XR and immersive spaces and in general virtual reality, is with me for like 20 years already, and was always the beginning of the thinking process on what's possible, what's next in virtual reality.
It was like some time ago, right? So you were one of pioneers of developing some solutions with, I don't know, 3D graphics, right? And how we can also, like, your approach is, I would say, very impressive as well.
Well, thank you. And yeah, actually, it was pioneering work, and I would say it was pioneering work in mobile spatial computing, or maybe in spatial computing. I was not recognized back then. And so the idea of spatial relation with computer was the closest thing to this idea, this one here, for the modern future, was the field, the phenomenon of augmented reality. Because when you had a smartphone, so when you had a smartphone, and the smartphone would recognize like a image or something. So this spatial movement, it was like compatible. The thought process, the idea of spatial movements was compatible with this. So there was like a switch from one device to different device, and this phenomenon of augmented reality became my everyday space that I was doing arts and science and just earn money in. And back then, the first like world scale influential platform and technology was called Vuforia. It was made and developed and distributed by Qualcomm, which is still up today like the main producer for smartphones, for chipsets for smartphones. And so Qualcomm was the owner of Vuforia, and I was very privileged and very proud of my team because we built the first game ever on mobile that was using this spatial movement, this spatial interaction space, the spatial computing phenomenon into actual gameplay. And the game of 3D pool game, billiards, we call it billiards, was actually you control the cue on the pool table with your smartphone, and you aim it like this, from to and back from the image marker. And that was the first ever game shown to the world public in the context of augmented reality by Qualcomm. And it was my idea and my beautiful team's work. And I was super proud of it. And I think still it may be like one of the, actually it was the first mobile game with augmented reality shown to the world. Yeah. Not to brag about it.
That sounds cool, but do you also patent these ideas?
Oh, no. I should. I don't have resources to do that, but I would have like tons of them.
Yeah, for sure. From what you say, it's like amazing. Like I'm very interested in this project. But continuing this, so I would like to ask you about generally your approach into VR or AR or XR, right? Because these are like XR is like the general.
Yes, yeah. The whole container for augmented, virtual, and mixed reality together.
Indeed, there are still many challenges. I even can't imagine how challenging was in the past, when this technology was at the beginning of developing, let's say. But also there are many challenges still. So you approach these challenges more like puzzles, experiments, because from what you say, or like you have the scientific approach, right, to develop this ideas.
Yes, I'm a natural scientist, so I look at things and try to figure out what they are, and then work from that. And also my imagination and this spatial awareness is heritage from my father and his brothers. They were also inventors, and so I have always this father figures, because my father had two brothers, and they always showed me that you don't need to buy anything. You can just invent it. Take materials, take tools, take time. You just combine it together, and you have anything you need. You can invent anything. You can just build whatever your imagination brings to you. But when it's 2010, and when there is like not many smartphones on the market, and only one smartphone on the market, a Samsung Galaxy S1, is running OpenGL, it is super difficult to build 3D games. So at the very beginnings, it was a struggle, and we actually had this in the team. I had my first business partner who was a super technically advanced programmer and already working in the field and the environment of 3D and depth problems. And mathematically, he was like, over the clouds. Yeah. So we had. I think it was just impossible combination of skills and ideas that went through the work of building our own graphic engine. Because in 2009 I got the investor. In 2010 we got the first company. At that time there was no graphic engine on the market that could they could hold those ideas I had. So we needed to build a dedicated graphic engine that will be based on those spatial possibilities that I wanted to work on. And so we did like from ground up. This was totally pioneering. It was like, go to America and with a shovel and a horse. It's like in the 17th century. So that was difficult, but it was so much fun. I had so much fun back then. And unfortunately, at one point, financial director from the first investor said, we need to earn. This need to be feasible and money-wise. So they pushed us from the beautiful idea of finding new goals into just being a laborer for other companies. Yeah, that's how we finished building games and other augmented reality applications, but still holding this idea of actually using this spatial ability and bringing users' mind to hand coordination, to just go off the flat screen, just go from this to actually move your hands, use the imagination to not slow down your brain and your imagination. That was the core idea. Yeah, many times it went well, many times it didn't go anywhere, but most of the times I was at least trying to push some spatiality into all the dozens of projects we did.
Oh my God.
So that sounds for like 12 more hours.
I feel that there are so many anecdotes about this, your background and with your experience. It sounds fascinating. So maybe you could even share some, some interesting facts from your beginnings, like something that you memorized, like for example, the biggest discovery, or even, I don't know if you want to share somehow something that you thought that it will work and it didn't. I don't know, maybe you could find something
at the very lowest
like
technical level that might be super technical. I'm not actually into programming and into coding. I'm not that person, but I can unveil you the fun fact that actually I appreciated not very long time ago, because back then it was every day, so I didn't think about it this way. But our 3D graphic engine we had back then, which we stopped developing in 2014, I believe, because Unity was already so well developed that it was easier to teach new worker to give him the Unity than to build a whole documentation of our own engine. But until then, most likely, I'm not sure, I will not give my hand up for it, but most likely our engine was the only engine back then that dedicated for mobile 3D gaming that was from one build we could deploy on Apple and on Android from the same instance. So we were building the engine to build one app and then deploy it to two platforms at once. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that back then it was the only one that could do so. Still, it was super difficult to sell this, use it as a selling point, because it was obviously more expensive to work on own product, own software, that the software that's well documented. It was like it was sleepy in terms of long-term business development. Still use the own engine, and money available on the market, and UE subventions were the field that you need to be especially delicate on how you define your targets. And yeah, I think we could. I can tell you where was my first approach to spatial sound in the context of the first engine. And I have it somewhere here. I have found a video from many years ago when we were first experimenting with spatial sound. So back in 2011, we were doing those experiments on what can we do with our 3D graphic engine. And one of the very early experiments was experiment with sound, spatial sound. And here you can see the recording of one of the first technical demos from this engine. And those instruments here and microphones symbols were representing the sound sources that were on the horizon in front of you. And if you would put now your headphones, you would easily hear how the space sound is moving around you, how the bass guitar is going from being in front of you into being on your right and to the back. And this was our approach on the issue of how to implement spatial audio in our engine, because that was a part of the experiment. If you would put your smartphone closer to an object, and it will be louder then. We found it and defined it as an important problem as early as in 2011 doing this demo. And again, we were starting in 2010. So it was just first 2 years of development of our own engine. Back then, spatial audio was important thing for me from the beginning. Yeah, and we are today. It's 2025. The world progressed. It's 14 years after that demo. Happily, Unity also figured out that spatial sound is very important for game experience, and they implemented it. It's available today. It's very important for gamers to be able to get closer to the object and hear it as a spatial as a sound getting louder or from exact direction one on another. Yeah, that was my issues back then, and I'm happy that it's so available right now for creators.
That's fascinating. But what happened to that project?
The engine, it was not developed further for many reasons. One of the reasons was that we needed to constantly look for new programmers, and from the beginning, our engine was not built to be a competition for Unity. We didn't have this financial flexibility to just go to the moon and became a new Unity or Unreal. And actually, there were no Unity back then. Unity in 2010, I think it was just like a hobbyist project on some forums. Unity was from the beginning a game engine and not a spatial engine. It just developed recently.
Just to also explain, Unity is the environment, right, to build immersive experiences, right? Because maybe not everyone knows.
First of all, it's the graphic engine for gamers to build games. But this is the basic, the core. But you can build on it in many different experiences. For example, touchscreen navigation systems, like mobile games, touchscreen mobile games, many things you can build on. And because of the XR space growing so fast and being financed by, for example, Zuckerberg and many other big corporations, there appeared some tools and some methods for the graphic engine, for the game engine, that allow easier spatial immersive experiences. Because the immersion starts when the connection between you and the game, the product, is more than just a screen that you can see. Yeah? Here I know that I see you on a flat screen. Yeah, so this is kind of limiting for me, for my general senses to to build something more than I see on the screen. So, but the immersive technologies introduced by these kind of devices were like closing you here, and here inside you will see nothing else than the virtual immersive product. And from that point, the experience was like overwhelming. It's not like I can see anything besides my screen, but you see only what's in front of you and what's around you. And this immersiveness from VR goggles was the how to say, the inspirations for 3D engines to become comprehensible for developers to do things on those kind of devices. And but the immersive technology hardware was first, and then the engines go to adapt those possibilities. We were doing the opposite way. First, we invented those possibilities, but then waiting for the proper hardware. So it's like a visionary tale from the future, but back to the future, back to the past, actually.
Actually, what do you think about the hardware development now? Because, like, for example, there are, like, every now and then they announce some new headset. Like there was a very big thing when Apple released this Apple Vision Pro, which now somehow it's like it's gone, I guess. But maybe they just work on something else. And also, of course, Oculus, right, and many other technological companies are investing in developing these immersive technologies and also hardware. So
maybe let's start from goggles, which are not the only technology for immersive and spatial computing approach. I remember because we had the first Oculus development kit 1, we started experimenting with this spatial space beside augmented reality, but with VR from the very beginnings of the platform. So I had in my hands and on my eyes, like I think every generation of hardware available already up till today. The progress is like obvious, and the pixels on the development kit 1 were so big you can count them. Just look on the screen, you can count the pixels. They were so big, and the experience was terrible. But it needed to be like this. All the technology evolves, and you need to develop some uses of this technology to make the evolution faster. Right now, I need to be honest with you. I didn't have the Apple Vision Pro on my head, but I had like Pimax 8K a few years ago, and the crease of the display, the quality of the screen it's crazy. You're looking like the actual real world. You cannot even see one pixel on it. But back then, I remember it needed to be like 2018, I think, when I had it on my head. It was wow, but I think back then GPUs were not yet ready to comprehend this kind of resolution, and such the amount of frames per second to use this big layout was not there yet. And but if you look now on the the RTX like 4090 or the latest 5090, those graphics cards are more beyond what's available from goggles like this. So I think the distance between what's possible from the hardware, the visual hardware, to the computational hardware, it's so close to reality, like from the perspective of human mind, that it is actually scary.
Because I remember I had a chance to experiment with VR technology, and I was using mostly this Oculus second, this very popular headset. And I remember like lots of like problems with usage. Like, for example, this headset was very heavy. Also, you could see still pixels there, right? And there are many factors that had an impact on your experience. Now I can see more and more advanced technology headsets are lighter. I had a chance to try Apple Vision Pro actually, and it was very, very convenient, like very comfortable comparing to Oculus, for example.
Yeah, and those problems are temporary. They are like transitional problems. For example, I'm using from the beginning the model. This is the second one. When you have a battery on the other side, so the balance is much better than if you use only a basic version. And this problem is approached directly with the latest generations. For example, the Oculus Pro. When I had a video on my not very popular YouTube channel, it's called Piotr Koźniewski, and I compare directly Quest Pro with Quest 2. And I point out the differences, and it's very obvious how they differ. But I think that what's the most important issue, as you said it, is that today goggles are more designed more in the factor of that our faces are different. I have like wide eyes, we're widely separated from each other. Some of people have smaller, like closer to each other. We have different depth of our skull. We have different issues with our sight. So modern goggles can adjust to those differences and allow you to have less headache from using them. And also there is like a technology of eye tracking, which Google can use to know where you are looking at exactly, and use this data to adapt to your, for example, I have slightly like a sideways eyes. So modern goggles can adjust to that and display image like considering my issue with sight. And those kind of problems are constantly implemented into modern solutions inside hardware. But also the tools for game developers are prepared to be easy to adapt and make the experience less and less problematic and bring less and less headaches. And so I think in the nearest future, it will be more easy to approach this technology. Also, what I'm talking with you from, the laptop I have here, it's the first laptop in the world with autostereoscopic display with the latest technology.
Can you describe this term, like explain autostereoscopic display, because like this is a very specific terminology, right?
Okay, so I try to maybe show it to you. I'm not sure if I'll be able. I need to just start, and if my system here will allow me to show this to you. I have 3 cameras on my laptop, and so this is Spatial Labs application, and here is just an image. I don't know if you see this.
Yes.
But when I am moving my head around the screen, this viewer, this 3D viewer, is changing the perspective on how the model is displayed for me. And also you should see like 2 wobbling images looking somehow like in a movie without glasses in the cinema 3D.
Like
I'm not sure if this is visible.
Because I can see the skull.
Yeah.
And the picture, it's like 2 different like 2D pictures, like the effect of 3D. How cool is that?
Yes, and what I'm seeing is every single eye see a different picture, because my screen is able to direct different image to the left and different image to the right. And this is a combination of like those spatial lenses over the very dense display, building this effect. Also, the software that is running on allows to, change the perspective for the model exactly as I am looking at it. So this kind of spatial display, it's even called spatial labs, Acer spatial labs. This kind of software and hardware is going into modern hardware you can buy. And this one laptop I'm working on right now is the first ever commercially available on the market, because I was always, a freak and nerd on 3D. That's the reason I have it. And for me, it works like the skull is actually here. My brain thinks I can touch it here on the nose. So
Oh, wow.
I hope we will meet one day, and I will show it to you directly, because it's super difficult to explain just this way. But those possibilities are there already on the market, and I'm pretty sure that right now the two cameras I have in front of me were tracking my eyes against the space in front of them. But I'm pretty sure in the future the same cameras can track what I'm looking at. So this kind of immersive, like even from the tablet or a 3D tablet, solutions will be available for every person. And those immersive sensations and immersive experiences would be available not only through visual aspect of the 3D space, not only in goggles, but also combined with 3D space of sound that will make like a whole new generation of experiences and build the possibilities from maybe even 2050. I would say I can tell you a few stories from the future, maybe other time.
Oh, wow. I'm just amazed, because I even didn't I wouldn't even think that, you don't need to Google to experience this 3D,
Because
visual.
for today it's expensive. This is not like a thing that you can buy for like 5,000 zloty, like, or 1,000 euro or two, but more like 3 or 4,000 euros for the best laptop. But still, like every technology, it will get cheaper and cheaper. Basically, in some time in the future, for every smart, you would have like a 3D display here, and you can work on it. But let's keep it for another episode, maybe.
Sure, can't wait. So, speaking about immersion, as the experiencing immersion, I'm really curious. How is your definition of it? Because you are so experienced in through many different factors, like even graphic factor and sound as well, and you developed this technology from very beginning. So can you give me your definition of immersion?
Okay, I will try to answer this, but first I will tell you a different scientific discovery, and then I will go directly to answering your question. So there is this theory. I'm not sure if it's proven, but it's very well documented that the moment that humankind discovered or built first tool, it was the first tool ever for our species, or maybe our ancestors, I'm not sure here, was a rock connected with a stick. So we had a ring on the stick. This was the first ever tool, hammer. It was the most simple tool ever, because a rock was also a tool, but it was like a first stage tool, like a simplest tool. The one we built, combining two of the stick and the hammer, was it gave like hundreds more possibilities for two simple objects. So the possibilities of our kind was so much more. The evolution from there was much faster thanks to the first combination, and the influence of the idea of combination of two tools giving you third tool, but more advanced. This possibility for our brain to comprehend that you can combine things and do more things was so important. What was so important in our evolution as a species, in our minds, to grow, to become what we are now, was as important. It was as important as doing exactly the opposite way. So you use one finger and you're doing millions of operations with your computer without even knowing what's going on. So it's the same, but backwards. So I think there's a theory that touch screens and the complexity under the touch screen, so the amount of work you're doing with one finger without knowing it, it's bringing our minds, our brains backwards. It's as important as the first tool, but the other way. And I see this problem, and it was pointed out many times by scientists, that smartphones actually are making us dumber. They are not making us smart. They are smart. We are not. So we are dumber. They are smarter. And I believe this is a problem. And I was pointing it out many years ago on many stages. And I was showing that we should use computing power to actually build experiences and build products and use technology to educate, especially younger generations, to not become dumber, because we have one planet, and when we are dumber, then we cannot make smarter decisions. We need to be smarter to make life on Earth possible, and not kill each other in stupid wars or over resources that we mindlessly waste. And so I think immersion is this field when you can use modern technology to move more electricity through your brain, but in combination with your, for example, manual skills. So going with manual combinations or building something like I build a lot of Lego techniques, just connecting hands with the brain, because this kind of devices disconnect brain from your hands because it's only one finger. So this connection, these spatial abilities are getting lower and lower. I think immersion is everything in between. If you are using more than your own on one finger and you are going inside some experience and you go through the space and you actually use the eye-to-hand coordination. Yeah, this is the thing that is going lower in the numbers. This is immersion for me. So, for example, not only VR, I think immersion is also available for you and for your senses in many other ways. For example, okay, so there's this idea. Can I tell you a story from the future?
Sure, go on.
Okay. So I'm waking up in my apartment and I need to wake up. I need to be prepared for work. So my house, which is a smart house, is already knowing that it's morning. Yeah. So the coffee is already brewed. Actually, in my case, it will be tea because I'm a tea person. Then you waking up and your house already smell like it should energize you. So your house is already playing you some music that will be slowly pushing up the tempo. So you will be slowly adjusting in at least immersive way into your workday. So your house is pushing to you first gentle notes, but then at the end, the upbeat is making you want to go work. You're built up to do your tasks in a fun way. And then, of course, my house smells in the way that should energize it. And then I go to my car. I drive commute, or let's just keep with the car. So I go with my car to work, and my car also smells in a way that will energize me. And the music in my car will also do some kind of musical magic, maybe also of course spatially magical things with my brain to adapt it, to adapt my brain to some advanced task I will need to head on in my work. So this connection, this will be also immersion for me when you could define those types of music, those sound experiences with the smell. So you can combine smell with the sound. Those are secondary and third most important senses for us. Obviously, first is sight. I've heard that second is actually smell, and then is hearing. For biological reasons, smell is more important than hearing. But okay, so then I'm in work, and after work, I go to my car, and my car already smell in a way that I should be slowed down to chill. But not like directly and stop me in the sitting position, but just slowly making the tempo lower and lower. And also when I come to home, the sound I get into is more calming. It's like sounds of jungle or like a waterfall. It sounds from every direction, not only from one speaker in behind, but from in the whole house is a spatial sound space with a dedicated smell for the evening, or maybe different for the Friday evening. Yeah. So this will be immersion that when all parts of your environment could be directed and set to put you in some kind of efficiency brain work to comprehend your reality. So, for example, this is a story from the future about immersion. I think of it without even putting any visual aspect for it. Yeah? Only sound and smell can be a spatial immersive experience in your house, through your car, and getting back the same way, another way, the same way, but different directions. You can say this is immersive.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because when I think about immersion and immersive experiences, I think about experiencing some situation through many senses, right? And it doesn't have to be in VR because this is immersive technology, right? That's how they define. because you are fully like environment, right? But generally speaking, this experience immersion in your everyday life, generally, right? Because this is the thing. But I'm really fascinated with the possibilities of this technology in terms of the world, or even this digital world through different senses can have an impact either on our healthcare, right, in our mood. That's very fascinating, and I think there is a very, very big potential in this.
Oh yes, definitely. The example I showed you was very egoistic. It was very maybe not egoistic, but egocentral, very much. But if you just translate it into the problems, for example, rehabilitation of, or for example, like some mental issues to handle some emotional distress, or maybe offering this kind of solutions to people in hospitals, very elderly, untreatable, very sick people, to just get them live in a better sensual environment. This is the big thing, I believe, and we already are thinking about those kind of problems using virtual reality and sound therapy in the Department of Image and Interdisciplinary Activities on the Poznań Artistic University, which is the latest department in Poland. I think in the artistic universities there is vast spaces and possibilities on how such kind of immersive experiences can help actually needing people, sick people who just need some relief in everyday life. Yeah, there are so many things you could do with immersive technologies, not only VR, but spatial sound and smell and for example, okay, have you ever had the opportunity to sit on a couch that has built-in bass speakers that can massage your body with
sound,
very specifically designed sounds?
No, but I would love to experience this.
Me neither. I would love to have such a couch. I'm not sure if there is one. I was looking for one for some time, but I haven't found one. And so I'm pretty sure it will be possible to just build a furniture that will also can be included in this immersive experience.
So I have to connect you with my friend who came to me once with this idea of this build some chair or something like this, like, because I would like to also tell something more about this your experience with sound, because this is like like my audience is like musicians and people who are interested in technology, and I would love to also show, as you said, how you can connect different dots and, for example, inspire from your background, and even to check what maybe you could tell me something more. How is your what is your experience with sound in your project? Because you mentioned already one, especially connected with this technology, but also maybe you could say something more, and also maybe you could even say what you think about the development of this technology of immersive sound, how it's gonna be developed, and if it's gonna be in devices that we use, daily.
Oh, it's already there. It's already there, believe me. So my first experience with Brasilia microphone was at the very beginnings of their market presence. And first of all, I was one of the first customers for the pre-sale of the microphone. It was, I believe, 2016 or 17 when we bought the first microphone. And then we had also from the pre-sale the first spatial camera for 3D and VR. It was called Insta Pro. And this camera gave you the possibility of recording a VR video that you can just rotate around and you will always see 3D in every direction. So we had this camera. Also, we had the microphone from Tomek, and we were doing videos, I think few musical videos. I think that also we recorded for Adi Novak, one of his videos. It's called Kosh, and it's recorded with our camera, and a few other VR experiences. But to be honest, with going to the customer, this was not a value for the customer to just hear space. For the musicians who are a totally different market for this, yeah, it's like something that you can record separate persons and musicians all around you. But for my customers, it was not a selling point, and I need to say that it was not I didn't get as much experience as I could offer you right now when connected to the microphone. I know the workflow. It's kind of difficult and quite heavy from the computational point of view. I can tell you about the idea of putting virtual sound sources in the VR environment around you, because this technology is actually is a standard for today VR games. And I was a producer for two quite big productions. One of is already on the Meta Store, and the other is always also on the PlayStation VR Store. And in this kind of projects for Meta Quest, Horizon Meta Quest, the spatial sound is like a regular thing now. So if you have 3D space and you will put a sound connected to, like, I don't know, you have a magic wand that you found in the experience, you can easily connect virtual sound source to a virtual object. So the object will be always playing the sound, and if you adjust the height against your head, you will hear it. You will hear the sound changing the position from these super simple stickers that are here, and those tiny stickers that are not that, directly next to your ear. They will still hold the experience. So if your audience are musicians and they would want to try to build this kind of experience, try what will be the outcome if you will just play around with the sound sources all around you, dancing around you. It's super easy with VR. You just need to have a developer who is capable of doing VR programming, and it's straight away. There's nothing fancy in between. So the times now this is very accessible for actually any musician and any programmer who will spend like a week in YouTube tutorials to build some kind of experimental demo. So the hardware of VR allows you to very easily experiment with the sound. If you have like a dedicated earpiece, all the sound processing is going inside the device, inside the hardware. So you will get only the outcome. And with speakers, with earphones, it's very easy. But if you take a look on like a home cinema sound systems, if you look at this from this point of view, have you ever seen a Dolby system that is below or above or below the level of your ears? If you think about it, the Dolby surround system, there are always two speakers on the sides, one speaker at the front, and two speakers at the back, but they are on your level of your ears. So home sound systems are totally not prepared for spatial sound. And if you will try to do so, they will do it in a way that your brain is actually misled and tricked into thinking the high and the low, the spatial highs and lows, in a way that your skull, the shape of your ear, and the amount of the structure of your ear and in generally of your face allows your brain to distinct that the sound is going from here or from here. And your brain is capable of understanding this, even though you are using only one ear. So if you do this experiment it will cover one of your ears, you will hear this. And yeah, seriously, do it on someone. Yeah, I was for a long time I was doing this trick on all the parties I went in Poznań. I think I was kind of annoying with this. So I went to even strangers and asked them, hey, listen, cover one of your ears, close your eyes, and I will click around you like this from different directions. And I ask them to point with his or her finger from where I'm doing this, where the snapping coming from. And you would be seriously, it was amazing for me how well it went. So I think it was like 80% correct answers. So I was always proving that only one ear can understand the half of a sphere of space around you. So this is the reason spatial sound and spatial hearing is so important and so capable, because our brains is so compatible with it. And I think that anyone who is a musician should try this experiment, that you can use this part of the brain that is mostly unused or just forget about, the spatial awareness.
This is very fascinating because, like, I also, I'm not very familiar with the technological aspects, but for sure, like the direction from where sound comes, it's like one of the most important features, right, of our hearing sense. And even, doing sound design for some audiovisual project, it's crucial for the experience, right? So to make the sound spacious.
Yeah, if you go to the movies and there is a plane flying from the back to the front, and the sound will not be correlated with that, you will instantly hear that something's wrong, and your mind will You get out the brain, and you will notice that something is wrong. Yeah, maybe I have a story about it.
But so go on. So share the story.
So the problem I found when trying to design an experiment to prove those theses was how to actually operate within the 3D program, how to define where is the sound source. So one simple thing is to just go make a VR app, take a controller, grab a sound, and just pull it around yourself or someone else, and try to close your eyes and trying to hear if you hear the spatial movements. So that was one idea, but how to use this technique to make a sound design. For example, in Ableton, which is the most popular platform for musical creators and producers. So we comprehend I spent a lot of money and time on it, my private time and money on the project. So I hired a programmer who was actually very, very good in mathematics, and he was doing this. It's the Max. It's a programming environment for Ableton. You know that? So we were doing a prototype when we connected. Back then it was Steam VR, the platform for working with Oculus Quest. I don't have my one here. I have it somewhere in the garage, I think. So we took a Steam VR platform, connected it to Max, to the environment for Ableton, and we were taking the spatial position of the controller and spatial orientation, and also we are reading the other buttons and the joystick on this, and we were trying to convert this spatial point and orientation, put this into the environment on Ableton, and Ableton was connected to this experimental setup of 8 speakers, and there were 4 on the floor, 4 pieces on the floor, and 4 pieces under the ceiling. So we had like this own spatial experimental environment built and ready to work with the experiment. But then there were some, issues on the aspect of the budget I had for the project, and then some mistakes on the deployment for the algorithms and mathematics behind it. And so the prototype only went to the stage when we had like maybe not even a few hours work on this problem, but I think it should be somehow continued. I think you would have some musicians or active, experimentators looking for some new environments, connecting Ableton with spatial sound and allowing creators to use this spatial ability to create some kind of musical playthroughs or some kind of other effects, also from back to the forth and from left to the right and so on. I think that would be a very potent field of experimentation still. Even though I was trying and just fell on the budget aspect, because I believe idea was good, but was another idea. It was proven not by me, it was good from the beginning. And so I wish I would love maybe in the future define some kind of projects with you. Maybe we could figure out where are the possibilities, where is the money to do that, and maybe some other way try to finalize something.
Yes, let's have a chat after the recording. Who knows?
Sure. I would love a follow-up.
Okay. Yes, totally. Okay. So I think the possibilities of playing with sound in this immersive context it's just like, I think it's still like undiscovered ground still, I think, and it's gonna happen in a broader way in the future when all of this hardware and from visual side as well, and from the UX, right? Will be more natural. I'm just can't wait as it's gonna go into this direction. So what do you think? Because I think it's gonna, like, the immersive technologies are next big thing, right? Because now it's the AI boom, right? This is the era of AI.
Yes. Yeah, also AI is already in this slop stage, and just not yesterday, I think Johnny Oliver put a wonderful piece of his series about AI slop, but forget about it. And the immersive might be maybe not that influential, because AI is actually very approachable for everyone, and straight from the toilet you can even do some AI. But with immersive technologies, you need some resources, hardware resources, for example. But it may be even more exciting, because you can enjoy it anywhere you go. You can combine the experience that I told you about, the theoretical story from the future, going to work, maybe going for a trip with an airplane. Maybe some hotels can creates special rooms that will be dedicated to this kind of immersive multisensory experiences. And I have a story about it in my commerce fiction book of good ideas from the future. And I hope I could share more of them with you in the future.
Oh, yes, I would love to find out more, because I think the more and more we are talking, the more and more topics and inspirations are just appearing.
It's very nice to hear that, and I can guarantee I have like so many more of them.
A follow up of this podcast for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe even a series.
Oh yeah,
Cool season. 10 seasons,
yes.
99 seasons.
I mean, I would love to, because I think this is the very fascinating topic, and this is a niche still in this field. Like, people are not very familiar with this technology, and because of course of the hardware, I think it's very crucial in this development, right? And because for now, for example, but Meta released glasses, right, with AR. Technology. If you could also share some thoughts about this, your thoughts. Have you had a chance to experience it? No?
They are not AR. No, they are not AR.
Oh.
You're thinking about the Oakley glasses and the Ray-Ban glasses?
Oh yes. So maybe I'm mistaken.
Well, they were named that they are AR, but they're not. AR is when the virtual layer is somehow connected to the physical layer. And what they did, they only put the display glued to your screen. So it's always there. And the thing you see on the display is not spatially connected with the space. So it's like a head-up display technology, like in air jets, and in some cars there's this head-up display. And those glasses you were telling about, I think, are only head-up display, not AR. But yeah, Meta said they are AR.
That was a buzzword, right? Buzzword.
Oh yeah, it was a big buzzword, and back then when Pokemon Go went to public, when everybody was playing Pokemon Go, our company was the first company in Poland doing augmented reality. So I had like 10 mails or phones every week asking how much is it to do a Pokemon Go app, and if 50,000 euro is enough.
So if we think about the future, I would ask you like one more question maybe about this, because what are the limits then? Are there like places where we should resist immersive tech? Because I think it's gonna be very impactful on our life.
Resist where we should resist? Yes. In some stages of our development, why not stimulate kids with spatial sound? Why not use spatial, music or some kind of recordings of nature to make them sleep better, sleep with a calmer, sleep, and use this as some balance for the unsteady times they hear from all around, and all the problems they can hear from their parents' life and from TV and radio and anywhere else where there's only commerce, who's better, who has more things, and such and such.
I hope that this educational system will also change, and there will be some way of literally find solutions for proper development of especially young kids, right? Because I mean, in my opinion, like with every tool, technology, you can use technology in both ways, in a good or bad way, right? It only depends on you, right? But of course, I think
I know what you're thinking. I maybe define it as constructive or destructive. So you can use school. Also, you can use books to distract someone's curiosity, because you push every knowledge through book, and the curiosity is destroyed. So I think books can be also built to grow the curiosity, not to feel it. Yeah. So you can use every tool in destructive and constructive way. Depends on what you want to achieve. So
let's hope that all of this technological advancement and all of these possibilities will be only used in this constructive way, right?
Yes. And the world we construct will be a beautiful and calm place that we can live well and prosper.
Thank you so much.